One of the biggest mistakes students make before OSCEs is collecting too many resources. More books, more flashcards, more question banks. But OSCE performance usually isn't a knowledge problem, it's a structure and execution problem. So if I had to keep it minimal and use only a few tools that actually improve clinical performance, not just knowledge, these are the ones I'd recommend. I'm going to show you 3 categories of tools that helped me the most. 1, a structure builder, 2, a quick physical exam reference, and 3, case practice tools so you can simulate the OSCE environment. These aren't random recommendations. They all support the framework-based approach I talk about in my other OSCE videos. The first category is what I call a structure builder, something that helps you organize your thinking around a chief complaint. The book I used most for this is Dains' Advanced Health Assessment and Clinical Diagnosis in Primary Care. Sometimes people call it the OSCE textbook. What I really like about this book is that it organizes things by chief complaint, which is exactly how OSCEs work. Each chapter walks you through things like safety and red flag screening questions, pattern recognition questions, key clinical reasoning prompts to guide your history, and usually a summary table at the end. So how I would actually use this book is pretty simple. I'd pick a chief complaint like headache or abdominal pain and review that chapter. Then I would write down a few things. First, safety questions. What are those red flags I need to rule out early? Second, pattern recognition questions, such as what questions help me quickly categorize the problem. Third, differentials by age. For example, I would quickly walk through 0 to 12-year-olds, 12 to 18-year-old, 18 to 60s, and 60 and older, because the differential diagnosis changes a lot depending on age, and so does your conversation. Then I would think through what physical exams would I do, what labs might be appropriate, what imaging might I order. That exercise alone forces you to practice clinical reasoning, which is really what OSCEs are testing. The second tool I use a lot is actually very simple but powerful. It's just an OSCE pocket medical reference guide with concise physical exam information. Mine is an older version, but honestly, that really doesn't matter. The reason I like a small pocket book like this is that it's easy to review in short bursts of time. If I have a break in clinic shift or I'm waiting in the grocery line, you get the idea. I like to flip through and look at the neuro exam, shoulder exam, cardiac, and so on. It's not something you sit down and read necessarily cover to cover, but I like to use it more as a quick refresher tool so that physical exam sequences stay familiar and organized. The fact this little reference is portable helps a lot because OSCE prep is really about frequent, short exposures, not marathon studying sessions. The third category is probably the most important, practicing cases. Because OSCEs are performance exams, you have to actually simulate the encounter. The classic way to do this is practicing with a partner. You can use resources like USMLE Cases, AMBOSS Clinical Cases. Those are also helpful because they expose you to lots of different clinical presentations. But honestly, you can also do something even simpler. You can just use AI to generate cases. You could ask something like, generate an OSCE case for a patient presenting with dizziness who's 62 years old. Then your partner plays the patient and you get to practice the encounter. And if you don't have a partner, there's actually a tool I recently discovered called OSCELab. It's an interactive AI OSCE simulator where you can either type or speak to the AI patient. I've really been enjoying using this because it helps me refine my clinical sound bites, so I can practice the way I ask questions and explain things to patients. And I feel like that's a skill you really can only develop through repetition. One thing I want to emphasize is what I would not do. I wouldn't buy 5 different OSCE books, I wouldn't try to memorize a bunch of scripts, and I wouldn't rely on question banks. OSCEs reward something different. It rewards clear structure, pattern recognition, and communication. And I think the best way to build those skills is repeated practice using a consistent framework. To keep things minimal, my approach would be first, use Dains' assessment book to build your chief complaint reasoning. Second, keep a small physical exam reference for quick refreshers. And third, spend most of your time practicing cases, ideally with a partner or using something like OSCELab. Resources don't make you OSCE ready, but a repeatable framework and practice does. If you want to see the exact framework I use, check out my 4-week OSCE preparation video, my 5-minute pre-exam strategy, and my chief complaint framework series. Those will help you connect all of this into a single system. If it helps, I've provided links for all of these resources in the description below. I hope that helps. Let me know if you're struggling with something in particular, and good luck preparing.